The other things I'm concerned about right now, people are telling me to get a mortgage these days, you need to have a 700 to 720, even 740 credit score. According to the Center for Responsible Lending, only 30% of African Americans have a credit score that high. That means almost 70% of us can never get a house. If we get one, it's going to have, what, a subprime mortgage on it. And that was before the recession. Any law, or any score, any mechanism that disenfranchise economically 70% of the country or 70% of a race is not fair.
But you also have a situation where once you begin to get inside of these credit bureaus and the scoring, the rules are so weird. So, for instance, there's no factoring. You know, I've talked to folks involved in this. There's no factoring in of income. So, for instance, according to their model, and according to how they look at it, if you make $1 million a year and you make $25,000 a year, you're sort of looked at the same way as to when something is reported, when you pay it off, and it's all of these convoluted rules of when something gets reported by the company. So you may have paid off, sent a bill in, but it's not really when you send it in. It's really when the company posts it.
Well, I think it's just. But for a long time, I bought into the concept that credit scores and credit were not biased. I now believe that they are biased. I now believe that the credit scores, just like the SAT scores, are based around someone's perception of what a good credit, or a good borrower is supposed to do.
Right.
You're supposed to pay your bills not a day late, but on the day that you said that you were going to pay it. I understand it, but sometimes people can't help but pay a day late because, you know, that's how they get paid.
It's also
and
weird.
That follows you the rest of your life.
It's also weird when if you apply 3 different places, now that's a negative. So, so first of all, you're told to get credit, but then, oh, I'm sorry, you're applying for too much credit, so the number of inquiries to your credit report now knocks you down.
I get this. If you decide to become debt-free, as you were talking with someone else earlier, that also hurts your credit because now you have, what, a thin credit file. In other words, they want you to keep having credit so you can keep your score up high, but that keeps you in debt. And a lot of us are trying to become debt-free. So, again, you have to look at those things very seriously.
So should part of credit reform also be absolute transparency when it comes to the reporting agencies and these credit companies? Because it is still not clear in terms of what these rules are.
Well, also, what about this one? You pay your cable bill on time all the time. You miss one payment. What's the first thing they call? We're going to send a report to the credit bureau that you're not paying your bill on time. That's not even a loan. But you know what? That's somebody trying to blackmail you to pay your bill. But what
threaten you by saying, you know what that's going to mean to you.
But companies do that all the time. Those are the type of things we also have to have some reform on, some bills on, so we can keep people from doing that type of thing.
Who decided that something should stay on 7 years? I mean, who said that 7 years is the...
That was a legislative thing. But again, those are the type of things we need to begin to change. And I think,
as opposed to 3 years or 4 years, somebody said 7.
Especially right now, and I think you should also give weight to what happened. A lot of time, people right now, you lost your job.
Right.
But you can't pay your bills. So they say, well, you can make a little statement in your credit report that you lost your job. No, you should we should have some type of counterbalance in your credit scoring that reflects that you lost your job. You did not pay the bill because you just didn't want to pay it anymore. You just couldn't pay it. The same way if you lose your home because of medical. Those type of issues are not reflected in a credit report or in a credit score. And I think that's the things we need to change.
Well, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this show, because this is such a crucial issue to so many people, so many African Americans, and we do want people to be more educated about this. But I think you're absolutely right. There has to be credit reform, and this should be a significant issue for the Black Caucus, for all of us to make sure it gets done.
But also, right now, I think what we should also help people understand is over the next 2 to 3 years, there's so much new regulations coming down the pike around credit, about home ownership, and about even business ownership. And guess what? African Americans, we're not even in the discussion. That's the shame. For instance, right now they're debating whether or not to make it mandatory to have 20% down payment on a new house. Mandatory. 20% down payment on a new house means that African Americans will never be able to buy homes for the next 5 to 10 years. Because many of us don't have 20% down.
Gotcha.
Even if the house is only worth, what, $100,000, you still got to come up with $20,000. But those are the type of policy issues that we need to get into discussion right now.
Well, we'll keep pushing it. Kelvin, appreciate it.